So Dennis, tell us a little bit about Alexandria Metal Finishers in Virginia. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there and all that you all do for your customers.
Well, Tim, we've been in business since 1962. We do
Hmm.
anodized and electroplating. Um, we are Nadcap approved. We do a lot of aerospace defense, medical. We do some commercial work as well. Um, I've been doing this personally myself for 36 years. My father's been here over 55 years. So we're slowly changing. The market's changed, so we have to change with the market.
Right, right. Yeah, I was going to say 1962. You all were really, when the company was founded and put together, really one of the pioneers in the finishing industry, really on the East Coast, right? I mean, you guys were some of the real first people that really had some very high tech work that you guys were doing even back then, right?
Yes, and we're still doing that. We're doing a lot of
Mhm.
specialty masking, and now there's always every time you put in a line, it's like, oh man, we're a few inches short here or there. So now I'm starting to we're redesigning the entire anodized line for larger capacity. We started out with 8-foot tanks when I started anodizing 20 years ago. I was a plater before that, and the 8-foot wasn't good enough. So I went to 10-foot. Well, now 10-foot wasn't good. So now I said, you know what? I'm going to 20-foot with the type 2. I'm going to go to 16-foot with the hard coat. I'm going to get my depths right with a big crane. And I hope this is big enough for handrails or anything big. So that's why we kind of say pocket size and rocket size is what we'd like to do. So knowing that I've just done this, I'm sure I'll get a quote in at 20-foot, 5 inches. So I can't do it, or 20-foot,
Right,
10 inches and so forth.
right.
But
It's always growing. Yeah. So you have recently, like I said, I know you guys added some more depth to your tanks. Tell us about that.
yes.
Tell us about that project and all that you've done with that.
So what I did, I worked with a couple fabricators. They designed the tanks that I want. I have a crew. I install the tanks myself. I design the airlines the way I want them to work. So the capacity with the depth and everything it's flexible now. Obviously, you have to heat and cool the thing, so that's another issue. But we figured that out as well. The capacity, we have 3 hard coat tanks working at all times. I have 3 type 2 at all times. Because you never know, when a chiller goes out, you got to have another backup. So I always want to make sure I'm never down and it doesn't affect the customer as far as delivery. We did that, and then it was like, well, now the customer says, I got a larger part. Can you guys handle it? Well, there's not a lot of guys who can do the larger parts, so we try to accommodate them as well. Then they say, oh, can you do it black? Well, I can anodize an arc coat to 16-foot. What do you need? Well, I need black up to 20-foot as well. I said, okay, let me get this done as well. So we've done that as well. So I'm hoping that now I've satisfied the customer base for a little while. I'm running out of space here, so I got 40,000 square feet. I don't think I want to put an addition in.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah. What type of industries are you working with to do
We
for
do a
that?
lot of aerospace defense work, and we do some commercial and some medical work. On the plating side, we've revamped that as well. I have 6 electrical stickles set up at all times. With the electrical stickle, you can't be down. It's usually the undercoat for most of
Right.
the stuff we do. So we need to have 6 available at all times. So I've had that. My new electrical nickel line is in place. We have a new aluminum line in place. So we're slowly trying to upgrade the building and the facility as needed.
Right, right. Yeah, you all have over 40 processes, right around 40 processes that you do, right? I mean, you try to serve the customer that's going to come to you. How difficult is it to really have that many processes and try to have them available and
Well,
such?
I like to say we have a great team here. We have a great quality control, great lab, and it involves more staff, especially with the NADCAP requirements. So we try to do what everybody wants, but there's a point where I don't want to set up and then for one project and then we don't do that for another 5 years, and then the footprint gets compromised a little bit. So we try to do as much as we can, and we try to do what we do well.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I was going to say, having that many, as I said, I guess you look sometimes at your customer base and see, the type of work that you're getting. Is that kind of lead you in the direction of what
Right, and
process you're getting?
that was part of the reason to go out to the trade shows again, see what people wanted. You kind of see that things are starting to change in the market a little bit. Now a lot of the parts become very complicated. So we focus more on some of those parts, especially masking and the requirements there, the baking. So we do a lot of that stuff. So I have a joke with all the customers. I said, "Hey, how about giving me something easy every once in a while instead of giving me everything?" I said, "Just let's
Right.
just make it fair. Give me something easy and give the other guy the hard stuff." And I said,
Right.
"Just do once, and then we're good."
Right. But you guys, I know you guys like those challenges, right? I mean, it's a they're usually, you
Yeah,
know,
we do. Oh, yeah, when they come out good, yeah, we do like it. But you know, there's always the speed bumps. You know, you got to get over these little
right.
speed bumps. But we do
Right.
like the challenges. Especially
Right.
my father. My father still likes to he likes to play around with everything. So it's like you
Right.
really can't say no. Like, okay, let's just do it. Let me figure out how we
Right.
can set this up.
Right.
We'll just do it. She's not going to say no.
Right. You know, you mentioned earlier, and I noticed this, but you all go to a lot of trade shows, not really finishing industry trade shows. You go to your customer industry trade shows and display your wares. Does that give you a bit of intelligence when you're talking to some of the people there about, you know, what could be coming around the corner? What are some of their needs and those type of things? Does that give you that really good
Well,
intelligence
they
for that?
tell us a little bit of what's going to happen in the future that they think, and then we can
Hmm.
kind of adjust with that. I tell everybody, I can't do everybody's work. I just want to be another source. So what usually ends up
Right.
happening is I'll do a sample part for them. They usually remember the sample part, and then it comes down to price, this and that. But for me, it's more to learn what's going on out there because it's kind of hard. I can't go on what's online all the time. I'd like to really talk to people out there and see what's changing in the market. Um,
Right.
it's when I see the veterans out there, those are the people I really want to speak to
Right.
because they usually have a pretty good understanding of what's happening in the market.
Right. And it's good to get out of that. You know, sometimes people just stay in that building you're working in, right? They don't get outside and hear it and talk to people. And that's kind of the, I think a very good benefit to going out and talking to people in the aerospace industry or the telecom industry, whomever, right? I mean, it's
Well,
good
it's
to
funny you
talk to
said
them.
that. I go knock on doors. So I
Hmm.
still go out. I go see. I have customers. I still go see customers. I'll take a day off,
Hmm.
maybe once every 2 3 weeks, and I try to go visit customers that I had or that we have. I still go see them. I think it's different than an email or a text message. Or
Right.
for me, it's,
Yeah.
it seems to work better for me.
Right.
Sometimes it works out. Sometimes not as well.
Gotcha, gotcha. So let's go back to these, putting the depth in the tanks, like I said, because I know you've got type for the type twos, you've got 20, 16-foot widths, and then pretty wide with that. And like I said, and
So the
going to
Type 2 is
this.
20 foot long, 20 foot
Hmm.
long. So you still have to seal it. So I still can, the 20 foot Type 2, I can seal. I can seal up to 48 inches. And then
Right,
the hard,
right,
the clear anodized, I can go up to 60 inches. Excuse me, black anodized, I can go 60 inches.
right, right. Yeah, and I know you've all add some more tints and colors and things like that, right? I guess that's driven by your customers, right, who want that
Right. So what we
variety.
did was I have a new dye line in, and all the colors we have online are set up. So we don't set them up as needed. They're always set up, temperature controlled. Uh, the line set up so whenever the customer calls, we'll analyze the bath and we're ready to go. I don't have to
Right.
mix it every time.
Right, right, exactly, exactly. How is the industry for this? How's the business for you all? What's going on out there that you're seeing and
Business
hearing?
is good. The jobs are becoming more complicated.
Mm,
Margins get tighter, so you're trying to
right,
balance that. And with labor and finding people that want to get. I guess the issue here with this is finding the next generation of metal finisher. Um,
right,
Developing the
right,
next generation of metal finisher would probably be the biggest concern. The old timers that taught me, most of them are not around anymore. So I have to pass on the stuff I've learned, and whoever's left has to pass that on as well for this industry to
right,
continue to grow.
right, right. Yeah. Speaking of that, I mean, one of the great things about you all is some very important pieces of metal have been finished by you all. I mean, some very, very, talk about that. Some of the pieces that you all have, very historical pieces that you all have finished. And I guess you've done it. You've gone back and like redone it for them again. But tell us about some of those projects that you guys
Yeah,
have
well,
done
so
over the years.
some of the things that we do. People probably recognize the guys are in. We do the NASCAR, the winter of NASCAR. We do the gold
Oh,
car every
okay.
year. Everybody likes that trophy. We did the lightning rods on the Washington Monument restoration project. The Charters of Freeman. We worked with NIST on that. The
Hmm.
Constitution, the encasements, we did that as well.
Right.
We did the Titan missile. We've done some cool stuff that we've posted online. Um, a lot of the things that we've done, we don't really know where they go, but we kind of do know where they go. So those
Right.
are some of the fun things that we've done in the past.
Right. Right. Yeah, I was going to say, and those, like you said, especially the frames and things that you all did for some of the documents. So those had to be a lot of pride to be able to do that. And
Well,
were
it's
they
funny
tough to
because
do?
I
Were
would
they?
go to,
Yeah.
it was fun to go to NIST and talk to them about that project. I still do some work for NIST, and they had some of the sample parts still there in their shop that I was able to see when they were machining them and all that. So it was fun to be a part of that.
Right, right, exactly. You mentioned something important. Like I said, when you get in the industry, your father was a mentor. You had a lot of other people that you've worked with over the years. He had mentors, right? When he started back in the early '60s, right? I remember him telling me a couple of guys that really were instrumental in getting him going. Talk about that for a bit because it seems like is that waning that some of these shops, the people aren't staying 30, 40, 50 years a lot of times. And
I just think that some of the people didn't get into this industry because it's a tough industry in the summer times, right? It's a tough industry
right.
to work around these chemicals and metals all day long. Um, when I got in, I came here when I was younger, obviously when I was
Hmm.
not being paid. But when I started, it seemed like everybody was like 50, 60, 70 years old. But they had like 40 years experience. So they're sharing everything that they knew. So it's like a crash course for me,
Right, right.
along with my father, who taught me the ins and outs of metal finishing. It, it, those tricks that they taught me in the past, I still remember. So it's interesting when I
Mm.
think back. I still have some photos in my office of all the guys in the past. Some of the things we did together and how we were able to accomplish it. It's just because of what they taught me. Um,
Right.
it's
Right.
not
Yeah. I was
something you
gonna.
can learn in school. Unfortunately, a lot of this is hands-on. So I tell everybody it depends on what side of the wall you grew up in this business. If you grew up where the shop is, you'll grow faster than if you grew up on the office side.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And like you said, for a lot of people, this is a very good career for young people to get into, right? If they really want to work and stay in a career for a while, this is a great industry to do that, right? If they really want to
Yes,
learn it.
it is.
Yeah.
There's not many people doing this type of work. So people say, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" I tell them I do coatings. It's kind of hard. Everybody thinks you're sticking it in a tank, it comes out shiny. Far from it. Um,
Right. Right. Yeah. I was gonna.
it's a tough trade.
Right, it is, yeah, and you talked about you're running out of space a little bit. You guys are pretty good at capacity, and doing the new tanks or putting the tanks on the depth. Any other plans you all have? I mean, do you got anything on the drawing board? Kind of wish
Uh,
list things that you want to do,
I've
or
done a lot the last few years, so I'm still renovating the plating line a little bit more with capacity there. Um, I'll work a little bit more in our global department or our specialty metals a little bit more, but we're pretty good. So I invite everybody to do a site survey. Everybody I go to speak to, I said, whoever you're going to use, do a site survey. Go take a look at their lab, look at their quality control. You can look at my facility. I want people to see
right,
that. Then you can see where your money's really going. So
right,
yeah, we're trying to do
right,
a little bit more, but the cost of materials just got crazy with
right,
everything, as everybody knows. So it's not like you
right.
just put a new line in. I mean, I have receipts of tanks that I bought 10 years ago versus now. It's crazy how much pricing is going
Wow. Yeah. Like I said, yeah, and like I said, if you can do some of it yourself, that's great with that,
But that's
yeah, and like I
Saturday
said,
work. So we got to do this on Saturdays. And, as I get older, I do run out a little bit of steam. So I think I've done enough for now.
right. Definitely. Yeah, and like I said, it's some of the work you're doing is challenging. It's very, it's high tech. People don't often, I don't think, get that impression of it, but very high tech. You're working with a lot of very smart engineers who have put these parts together and such. And it's got to be, for you and your team, it's got to be a thrill that you guys, are asked to take on some of these bigger, tougher challenges sometimes.
Yeah, we do enjoy the challenge. Like I said, when we can get over the little speed bumps and everything goes well, it's great. It's when things don't go well.